I've heard that procrastination is related to trauma, and I think that's true. I have a client, for example, who struggles with crippling procrastination. She's really intelligent and she comes from privilege and she spends money on therapies and retreats looking to heal herself. And after all of that, she still struggles with the extreme discomfort of doing tasks by herself. She's profoundly curious about why this is so difficult for her. She knows this anxiety comes from her experience as an infant, being left alone and neglected in her crib. She knows she must have felt so frightened and terrified and even afraid she was going to die. It was a fear that intense. Her parents wouldn't come to her when she cried. They wouldn't see her fear and offer her soothing and comforting. They just weren't emotionally available to her, and they weren't able to help her to self-regulate. Therefore, the sense of being alone continuously elicits this feeling of loneliness, isolation, and terror. She becomes paralyzed with a task of packaging up returns or even tidying up the kitchen. She falls into a deep depression, or she just feels incapable of engaging in these activities by herself. But when she gets on the phone with someone or she signs on to a co-working website, she becomes alive and focused again. This repeatedly happens where she's grounded and focused around people and then becomes so unmoored and frightened and paralyzed when she's alone. Well, we did some work with this with the flash technique, and with flash, unlike EMDR, you only look at brief snapshots of your trauma at a time. This prevents you from becoming overwhelmed and flooded and avoids the hangover so common from the intense processing EMDR requires. The snapshots from her memory of being alone were so intensely activating for her. So I asked her to imagine herself working with molten glass, and that her snapshots are these hot pieces of molten imagery that she can only pick up with these tongs, and that would help her feel safe, and she would be protected from these intense memories. She could see herself behind these goggles and this apron and these giant gloves as we ran through these snapshots. And as we did so, the distress was greatly diminished. And by the time we were done, there was no emotional hangover, and she was really able to feel the separation from the pain of those images. It really is amazing how hard people will work when they get the right direction. So check out the flash technique for yourself and let me know how it works for you.